G'day, Glenn here. I've had a reasonably large morning on my 1979 VB Commodore. I found this car in a paddock about 6 or 8 weeks ago, and since then I've been doing stuff to put it back on the road. One of my ambitions, of course, is to get the engine running again. 385,000 kilometres, and it hasn't run since about 2001, we think. 253, 4.2 litre V8, 4-speed manual behind it, so it really deserves to be on the roads again. I've done a bit of prep today to get it started today. A few weeks ago I actually turned the engine over by hand, but I'm almost at the stage where I can turn the key and hopefully it'll roar to life. Now, when I dragged this Commodore off my mate's farm, Paul's farm, 2 months ago, it was missing its carburetor and it was missing its radiator, so obviously the motor's not going to run too well without those. I've borrowed a radiator, dropped it in, and I've bought a second-hand carby off one of my mates, Mark, and installed that. Fingers crossed they both work. Now, I've put a carby on the car. I've also blanked off a couple of the vacuum lines so that the engine will run. The brake master cylinder booster, for instance, I've bypassed that for now. I just don't want any vacuum leaks. More prep. A lot of people would probably say that it's ready to start, that it's an old 4.2, it's an old legendary Holden V8, it's going to start straight away, but I wanted to put a little bit more care and attention into it than that. So I've taken the rocker covers off. I wanted to make sure that none of the valves were jammed open after sitting in a paddock for 20 years, and I wanted to give everything a little bit of a lube. The camshaft, for instance, buried in the motor, it's not going to see oil pressure for a while, so what I've done is I've actually squirted a bit of oil down the pushrod holes to give the lifters and the cam a little bit of a pre-lube. But these old cork rocker cover gaskets are absolutely disgraceful. So I won't be using those again, will I? Okay, what's next? I did turn the engine over by hand to make sure it wasn't like jammed up. I have given everything a bit of a pre-lube. The next thing I wanted to do was actually determine if the starter motor worked and that there was an ignition system working. So the other night I actually connected up a battery and I did crank it, and I do have spark. So fingers crossed that I can get this going today. All right, last thing I need to do to get this thing going, fingers crossed again, is to put the spark plug leads back on. I've actually put brand new spark plugs in this car. I think it deserves it after 20 years sitting in a paddock. So yeah, I'll chuck these leads back on. The only concern I've got is whether the fuel pump works. It's actually sitting in a can of lawnmower fuel. There's no fuel tank in this car because I've been working on the back of it. So yeah, don't know if the fuel pump works. I can splash fuel down the carby, of course, to make it run, to make it fire, which will be a pretty good feeling. But whether I can keep it running for a minute or 3, I don't know yet. But yeah, we'll find out soon enough. And yes, just in case you're wondering, I am going to try to start it without the rocker covers on it. 2 reasons: I don't have any gaskets, and B, I'd like to actually see all the oil being delivered to the top of the push rods. These engines, all the valve gear is lubricated through the push rods. I want to make sure there's oil coming out the top. All right, well I reckon I'll just tip some fuel down the carby and fingers crossed, eh? I've been saying fingers crossed a lot, haven't I? Yes. All right, well, here goes nothing. Give it a little splash. Oh. Yeah, all right. See if we can get a bang out of it. And the fuel pump works. Woo, woo, woo! Yay! Oh geez. Oh man, that's awesome. Where are my pliers? Oh, I'd be careful I don't swear too much. Oh shit, I probably shouldn't have left the fuel line off. I wanted to see that there was fuel getting up, but now there's juice everywhere, but should be right. Yay! It works. Look, I've shut it down. No rocker covers means there's oil leaking off the end of the rockers onto the exhaust. But yeah, wow. This is, I'm not going to say this has been a long time coming. It's a car I dragged off a paddock, bought off my mate Paul. We've done a little bit of work to it, and it's all good. Good news. One of the things I wanted to see was oil, as I said earlier, at the top of each pushrod, and I think I've got oil everywhere. So that's a good sign. Yeah. Oh, I'm speechless. No, I'm not. I'm rambling. Oh wow. I should just shut up now. Well, this has been a good day. It works. Dragged off a paddock. I've done a little bit of work, as I've explained, but I'm ecstatic. It sounds like it's going to be it's not going to need a rebuild or anything like that. So yeah, can you tell I'm happy? Anyway, man, yes.